All right, let's face it. In high school, we all had that one English teacher. Well, that English teacher is me. I'm Brian Kulak, a career educator and author of The Hot Seat. Every week, I reconnect with former students, colleagues, and fascinating people to explore who they were, who they are now, and the wisdom they've gained along the way. Welcome to The Hot Seat. Again, episode 12, and this time we're going to meet with Sherri Wilson. How are you?
Good. How are you?
This is so funny because we've seen each other like at Trento that time with your friend and my
Yes.
son,
Yes.
and that was a total creeper because even my son's like, "What are you doing?" And I kept looking over. I'm like, "I'm pretty sure that's Sherri," but I couldn't tell. I had my glasses on, so I'm glad that we came over and saw you. And then at the concert, which I was so excited, not just that you were there. I know Casey told me that you guys were coming, but I didn't know it was your whole crew.
It was the whole crew. Yeah.
That is, we're going to talk about that. I put that
I
in the
love
show
it.
notes. It really was great to see all you guys. The show was horrendous. I don't know if you're a Dave fan, but
So I'm
I
not,
am.
and
The,
I didn't know any songs, and I shouldn't admit that, but
no,
then I saw afterwards on social media, everyone's like, "Oh, that was the best set ever," and I was like, "Oh no."
no, it was not the best set ever. In fact, the next night, the Saturday night show was bananas, and it was right in my wheelhouse. And you would have recognized a lot more songs. And the problem for our group, Cher, is we've been together close to 30 years now, and for whatever reason, the last 4 or 5 years, we've gone on Friday, and we've just not seen a good show. So
Yeah.
I have to go to both shows, or we got to start skipping to Saturday. That's the message of that story. But it was great to see you guys on the lawn. I didn't know you all were going to be there, so I was glad to see you. So as you probably know, each show starts with who were you and who you are now. And I know you had mentioned in the pre-show a little bit that you don't really remember a lot of high school. So I want to
Yeah.
get into that too. But remind us, who were you back then? Who are you now?
So I was trying to do my research, and I was looking at some of your shows, and I know you start out with this, and I really don't like this question. And I don't know if it's just because I don't remember too much. And also because I feel like at 30 something, I'm still trying to figure it out. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I think who I was. I mean, I think in high school, I think I was social. I think I was kind of like a wannabe overachiever. I know I overcommitted to a lot of things. I dabbled in sports and clubs, and
Yep,
I did cheerleading.
yep.
I don't know. I might have been what I don't know, a class something or other, because people were like, "Hey, what are we doing for our 20th reunion?" I'm like, "Why are you asking me?" They're
You
like,
don't
"Weren't you
remember? Like, yeah, that's not going to fall to you if you don't remember. That's probably.
I know, apparently by default, right? I have no choice. But yeah, I mean, I loved high school. I had so much fun in high school. I've heard other people talking on this about just how Audubon's so tight knit, and I mean, a lot of my friends that I'm still friends with today, I've been friends with since kindergarten, so five
Right,
years
right.
old. I mean, it's a really long time, and like you just said, we were all at the concert together, so we still get to spend time together. So yeah, I mean, in high school, I don't know, I had a lot of fun. It was a good experience.
Yeah,
Now I'm kind of revisiting that high school stage. You know some of this
yep,
in terms of
yep,
now I'm working in a high school as a mental health counselor,
yep.
which I love. It's amazing. And then I do private practice psychotherapy. I just started my own practice in November. Um, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's that.
So, congratulations on the private practice. That's amazing,
Thank
obviously.
you.
Do you work with adults or adolescents or both?
So I do both.
Okay,
I
okay,
prefer adults.
okay,
So I did specialize with working people on the autism spectrum,
okay,
and I'm kind of moving further away from that. I was
okay.
wearing too many hats, and that's a typical Sherry thing where I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I'll do this, and I'll do this, and I'm like, I'm going to lose my mind. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
narrowing it down a little bit.
Okay.
Mhm.
So, I think that your experience with not remembering a lot from high school is more common than people think. And it's also for people like me so far afield because I remember high school so well. And I was like you, I did everything I possibly could, sports clubs, whatever. I had a super closely knit group of friends. Everyone, I mean, such a small school. Um, but I think that people fall on one or the other side of that continuum. There's not a lot of people in the middle who kind of remember a lot, but also don't remember a lot. sometimes high school is just about getting through it, right? Like there's shows and movies and entire genres devoted to like the horror that is middle school and high school. But if you didn't have a horrible experience and you remember a lot of it with fondness, I think that's kind of cool, especially, and this kind of ties together with what you just talked about. To see you and your girlfriends together 20 years later, after being in my class, just made me happy. I mean, my closest group of friends is high school and college. There's a really small group of us, and then the branches kind of go from there. But there's five of us that run together, and we'll never stop. And I remember how hard it was for people who didn't come from small towns to understand that. Like, dude, you're still friends with your high school friends? Like, what is that? I wouldn't trade it for anything. So a lot of what that night was about was like me, like, oh, this is nice because like that group you saw me with is mostly former students. It's not my friends, my personal friends, but a couple were there. So I think there's a continuum where we remember all of it or remember none of it, and that's just kind of based on our experience. So you're not really a none of it person. It's like maybe I misunderstood when you said you don't remember much of high school. So tell me, like, what's a resonating memory from high school for you?
Gosh. Um, wait, so to kind of explain that, I feel like because I'm still friends with a lot of girls from high school, and
Yep, yep,
we'll talk about things that happened, and I have no memory of that. I'm like, what? We did what? What
yeah.
happened? And even something as little as like senior trip. They were talking about senior trip, and they were like, oh, I remember on senior trip this happened, and I'm like, it did? Like,
Really?
and then I start
Yeah.
to question my reality. I'm like, wait a minute, why don't I remember that? But I mean, it's funny because again, just trying to like mentally prepare myself for this. I was like trying to think back, and I guess like the more you try to, the harder it is to
Yeah,
recall
yeah,
things.
yeah,
So I was trying to think back, and there were some things that were like related to you in a way that, like the senior video, for example. I
yeah.
have no idea where my senior video is, but I do remember that's the first time someone called me anxious. I told everyone, I said one word to describe me. That was my video. And a teacher was like, I don't know how to say it. Not like nervous, not this. He's like, but anxious. And I was like, I don't even know what that word means. Whatever. So
Really?
fast forward,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um, but it's just funny that ties back to you because it's like the,
yeah, yeah,
our project. Um, Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think about like cheerleading, and I remember like I had
yeah.
a really bad memory. I like um literally like could not remember things. I remember like doing like one of our routines at competition. I just like blacked out, and I was just like, "Go team!" Like, it's like I think those things just stick with you, which is
Yeah.
probably also linked to anxiety. I mean, but we had I mean, I don't know. I think we did have a lot of fun. Like
It was a good group. It was a fun group,
yeah, we
that's for
were.
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean, we had parties and
yeah,
there were good
yeah,
times, like things that we still joke about to this day.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, those are I mean, again, I guess I mostly remember just really good times.
yeah,
I remember you commented on my the weird things you remember. You
yeah.
commented on my planner before because I just like had like a bunch of things like written in, and you were like, "How do you function?" Like, and I just remember like little comments like that
Yeah,
just stick
yeah.
with you. Um, but which my planner still looks the same now in my 30s.
I'm
So
sure it does. I mean, see, that's
but
what I'm talking about, Cheryl. Like, that's the good stuff that I will never remember. Like, when you guys tell me stuff like that, it just makes me just so thankful, like, for my
Mhm.
career. And like, it is. I think I'm a little moment person. So, like, in my life, my personal life, I remember lots of little moments, but they're not coming from me, right? They happen to me, just like you had mentioned. Um, and I want to stick just for a second because you brought it up and it keeps coming up on the show, which I'm not surprised by and I love. So, are you an anxious person? Like,
Which
was
also,
that
yeah, when I
was
was
that
doing my
the,
research, I saw that too.
yeah,
Yes, I mean, I'm not anymore, but I didn't know it, but absolutely. And honestly, it wasn't until I went to college that I was like,
right.
I had like really bad test anxiety. I think because it was just like a different, I don't know, different culture than high school, and I, I mean, it was at that point I was like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I would say, I think it's like a personality type too. I think it's funny. I was fostering a dog for the summer. I'm adopting him now. So, but
Nice.
like even like I'll literally be like, he was sniffing someone's grass, and what if there was something in the grass and he
Oh
wasn't sure?
man.
And then people
Yeah.
were like, Sherri, knock it off, it's a dog. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
but it's not just, so so it shows up in like areas like that. But I when I say like personality thing too, I'm actually thankful for it because I think there's a lot of strengths in someone who's anxious. But I get it. So yeah, I mean, I would say I know what anxiety feels like. I don't know that I would describe myself as an anxious person anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember you being anxious back then, and I certainly wouldn't. I mean, obviously, the limited way that I know you now wouldn't describe it that way. But like, it's funny how sometimes when someone holds that mirror up and says the word, like, "Oh, that's what this has been this whole time." Thank
Hmm.
you. And like I said on another show, I was well into my 30s when I realized what mine was or what it is. Um, so, do you think that played a role in your career path and arc? Like, I want to get into that too because I say to anybody who will listen, if I wasn't in education, I'd be in psychology. I would be in
Hmm.
some sort of therapeutic field. So tell us how you got there.
So I think it goes back to college.
Okay.
I think it was I had no idea what I wanted to do in life. I just knew like, oh, you should go to college. I have other thoughts about that as someone who spent my entire adult life in school.
Yeah.
But I was, and then I got there and I was like, what do I do? And I really took a liking to the psychology courses. They just
Okay.
were incredibly interesting. I think the human brain is so interesting. I think just like understanding people's like lived experiences and just getting to know. I mean, and yeah, I mean, I think it shaped it in a way that I think my own life experiences kind of pushed me into it, and I think
Sure.
just like
Sure.
general interest of just wow, that's fascinating. But yeah, and I knew I wanted to be in the mental health field. I didn't know like in what capacity. So I wound up, looking into how, like, what's a, what's a way that I could become a therapist. And, there's different ways in terms of like the schooling that you do and what made the most sense for me.
You still there? Oh,
Am I
oh.
back? Am
Now
I?
you're back. Now you're
Okay.
back.
My phone's yelling at me for hitting
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
my limit on here. So I went into to get my master's in social work because I thought becoming like an LCSW licensed clinical social worker was going to be the best path for me to be
Right.
able to do psychotherapy.
Right. And then now you have your doctorate.
Hmm.
So you're Dr. Wilson. Congratulations.
Hmm.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal work. So I guess like two things come to mind. How did any of us do it without people like you as we grew up? Like therapy was not a thing, right? Like no one
Hmm.
talked about it. What I liken it to, Cher, is like when I talk to parents now whose kids are being referred to special ed, they're for the most part, the knee-jerk reaction is absolutely not because in their heads, it's a rubber room. They'll never see the light of day. They're
Hmm.
drooling. No one's paying attention to them. And I don't understand how we're still stuck there because it's not that at all. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful field, so necessary for our kids. And I think therapy is a very similar arc. Like it was whispered about in corners, right? Like you don't no one goes to therapy like you're crazy. And then word
Hmm.
shrink, was part
Hmm.
of the, but that's not even at all what it is. So
No.
I've been saying for this whole time, these 12 weeks, I don't know what I would be without therapy. So I don't know how we got through it. Like, what are you seeing most predominantly in your practice that you're working with folks on?
Oh my gosh, everyone has anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Okay.
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone's on medication.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. I when you ask that question, like I, I mean, I think all the time, like, who would I be today if I like was getting therapy as like a 15
Right.
year old?
Right. Yeah.
It's so again, I didn't know what anxiety was until I went to college, and I'm like, how like if I
Right.
knew in high school that I had anxiety, like maybe things would have worked out differently. But yeah, I mean, I people self-esteem's a huge one.
Really?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of like women on my caseload who are like 20 to 40 something, like confidence, self-esteem, like, and it's funny because when I start meeting with them, I tell them that like, okay, this is a boot camp because we're kicking that, They always say
Yeah.
we're going to change your brain, and
Yep. Yep.
I have an approach where I'm just like I ask the question so what a lot, because I like genuinely like, who cares, so what? They're like, well, what if this happens? I'm like, so what? So
Right.
Yeah, but again, I think a lot of that's rooted in anxiety. But even with the students that I see in the high school, I mean, again, it's everyone's anxious. Everyone. I have people who come to me in the middle of the day almost every day, and they're like, "I'm going to have a panic attack. I need to chill out." And I'm like, "What's going on?"
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a thing.
Do you think it's just like emblematic of where we are in society and the social media influence and everybody kind of sizing each other up and not feeling like enough? Like what do you think it is?
Um, so I definitely think so. Like when people think of like OCD, right? I always like joke and say like I think of you know I have a different abbreviation for OCD, and I say it's like obsessive comparison disorder, where we're always comparing ourselves to other people. I mean, in high school, I think that plays a lot into it, where it's like, oh well, like this person, like their parents let them do this, and I can't do
Right.
that, or So I mean, I will say, and I think this doesn't come as a surprise to anyone that like a lot of it's like rooted in the home life.
Yeah.
Um, so environmental is always a huge thing. But I think social media is a huge influence. I am really our school is banning cell phones, and I
Really.
love it. I think it's the most amazing thing because I have people who are like having text feuds in the middle of the school day, and then
Right,
like they're
exactly.
freaking out. Yeah, so it's like let's just eliminate that. And actually, we're getting a lot of positive feedback where people were like, it's almost like people engage in their phones and social media because of FOMO, but if they
Uh-huh.
had the choice, they wouldn't engage. So I think that's like another component for sure.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel really lost. People get anxious when they think about the future, and they're like, "What do I
Yeah.
do?" They feel like they're falling behind. I think there's societal pressures and timelines, and again, even with
Yeah.
like women that I work with, and they're like,
Yep.
"I'm 30 and I don't have kids and I'm not married," and that's when the "so what" question comes in. Like, so
Yep.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a combination of all of those things for
That's
sure.
a lot of things to combine into an anxiety pot, right? And I think you're right about all of it. Haddon Township just went to no cell phones heading into this year. They'll have pouches,
Mm-hmm.
and they can use the phones in lunch or study hall, but they can't use them during the class. And my daughter and I were talking about it. And I'm like, I kind of see both sides. I have like, just like you. And in elementary school, this does not happen. That's why I'll never leave. But for my friends in secondary, fights all happen as a result of planning it on their phones at 8 a.m. I'm going to see you at 10 o'clock in the bathroom when you kick your ass, right? Whatever the case may
Mm-hmm.
be. And then it blows up on TikTok or Snapchat, so everybody knows what's going to happen. And then you have mayhem. So of course that should be gone with that new policy. But I want to go back real quick before we get into your hot seat question, because I mean we could talk about this for hours. I'm just so fascinated. But so the idea of popularity in high school is huge, and we talked about it when you were in my class. I talked about it pretty much every year. Like, is this still a thing? Do people even care about this anymore? And the answer varied, but for the most part, there is a desire to be popular, whatever that word is, however you define it. Do you think that still applies to adults? You're working with kids and grown-ups. So do you think there's a desire to be popular or seen or well liked, or is it the same thing, just all grown up?
It's funny that you say that because when you said popular, what I was thinking was well liked.
Okay.
And so I'll say yes because I
Okay.
do think there's that desire to be well liked. I think because I think that's where, again, a lot of anxiety comes in. And like, I think we put so much emphasis, like, I think so many people are looking for like external validation and, just like having people like compliment them or praise them. And I work a lot with like self love and like,
Yep.
we need to seek that internally. But I do think that, those people who are seeking again that external validation, I think they want to be well liked, and that's how people become people pleasers, and then we don't have strong
Yeah.
boundaries, and then we're stressed out because we're overcommitting to so many different things, and being in bad relationships, whether it be romantic partners or friendship, and so
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
so I think the short answer is yes, and those are all
Yeah.
the reasons why.
Yeah, I mean that's I do think there's a continuum too, especially if high school wasn't what you wanted it to be. You feel almost like doubling down to make sure that you make up for that in college or whatever your post high
Hmm.
school life is going to be. But then, to your point, you're almost led by yourself into these toxic or unhealthy relationships or friendship patterns or family patterns. Like for me, it was family for a long time, and I didn't know how to get out of it because I was in it and I was part of it. And then my therapist turned me on to the triangle, right? The rescuer, persecutor and savior. No, what is it? Persecutor, savior, and savior. Oh, victim. Sorry, victim, persecutor, and savior. And I found myself on that all the time until I was able to get off through therapy. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. I just think that it's such a important. I'm so glad that you're doing it and doing it so well. And it's such an important field that, like I said, if I had to quit teaching tomorrow, I would start back and get certified to be a therapist. I think it's such an important field. Um, Okay, so I picked two questions for you that are very different. Um, and I do that because if you don't like the first one, you can certainly veto and take the second one. Um, and I don't know why. Sometimes these jump off the page because of the person I'm going to be talking to that night, and sometimes I just really like the question. I think the person would like it too. So do what you want with one or both of these. So your hot seat question, the first one, if you choose it, is: do you think there's a difference between? Or did I already ask this one? Reason and excuse? I feel like I did. Did I use one? Okay, forget that one.
Okay.
Actually, do you think there's a difference between a reason and an excuse?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, what's the difference?
I think a reason might be more justified. There might be a
Okay.
little more depth behind it as opposed to, well, I guess you could also argue that if someone were to do something, I mean,
That's why it's
um,
hard.
no, I guess I mean, I'm trying to use an example. I use really bad examples all the time. If yeah, I guess so. Okay, if I'm like, I need to go to bed early tonight, like
Okay.
there could be a reason I'm waking up early tomorrow.
Okay.
Um, versus like if someone calls me and I'm like, I need to go to bed early tonight. That's my excuse to not have called
Oh,
someone.
oh, oh, okay.
you know,
Okay.
um, but there's a reason for that excuse.
That's true. Right. So it is semantic for sure. And it could be circumstantial. I'm going to let you off the hook though, because I already asked. See, this is
Awesome.
my problem. I forgot to look back at the questions. All right. Here's one I don't think we did yet. Dean, you can tell me if we did because you're keeping track better than I am. So this one is again totally different than that one. Do you think it's more important to be loved or to love? You can't have both. So if I force you to say that I would rather be loved or give love, but you can't have both. Oh, I get the sideways glance. I love it. I got you,
Okay.
Sher. Take your time. It's a
um,
tough one.
More important, I so I okay, obviously these are really complicated questions. I also would probably be like the poster child for like what not to do because I'm going to give a lot of ums and like
Like
and
put up your
no's.
hair. The whole
Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, um, but I think I think with this is going to be it's going to sound really deep, and I promise it's not what it is. But I think with love comes loss.
Okay.
So are you asking if it's like more important to be loved or to love?
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to really put you on a difficult spot whereby you have to decide if being loved by multitudes and like platonically, romantically, just people
Mhm.
love you, love being around you, love being your energy is the thing, or if no one felt that way about you, but you were able to see the world in this like truly loving mosaic where you just don't have hate, you don't have animosity, you just feel like you want to give love out. Which I think important is the word I want there. What's more
Okay.
important?
Okay. I think that's really hard. I was reading the questions in the back of your book, and I was like, "Oh, I could do some of
Yeah,
these."
see, that's what
That one,
I'm trying to find ones that you're not going to prepare
yeah.
for.
I will say, so, okay, so in my practice, right, I always say with the people that I work with, my goal is to reduce suffering. That's just the
Okay,
bottom line.
okay,
I think a way to do that, I'm very big on the way you view the world and your perspective, and I feel like you can lighten your load when you kind of have those glasses on and you look at things differently. So, and that's, I'm always saying let's extend grace and be gracious. And I think that's that loving piece where, so what the way you described it just then, when you say like, if you look at the world like this, like mosaic and everything's beautiful and lovey, like I think that's ideal. And I think that's more important in a way, because I think your lived experience like reflects that,
Hmm.
in terms of it being, maybe a more desirable experience. But I do, I mean, I guess you have more control over the love and to be able to like look at things more lovingly.
Totally agree.
Um,
Yep.
but then, I mean, but I do think it's important to be loved too. But I mean, can we argue that, if you look at the world with love and people with love, you're just naturally loved?
Yeah, no, I think you can. I think that's a very therapeutic answer, Dr. Wilson. So I appreciate it. But I do think that the way I framed it when I wrote it is internal versus external, right? Like, so if I am, you said it, if I'm in control and capable of giving it out, I should do that. And I'm
Hmm.
not talking about flowers and rainbows. I'm just talking about being a good person who cares about other people and genuinely loves them on whatever part of that love spectrum we're on, right? Like, I love my friends so deeply and dearly. And we talk about this all the time. The older you get, the more comfortable dudes are with talking about this stuff. And we talk about our importance to each other. Um, and then obviously there's all kinds of different love in our lives, but to receive it, and this is the anxious brain, almost seems selfish, right? Like, to talk about yourself as loved seems self-serving. To be able to see yourself as someone who just wants the best for people in his life
Hmm.
seems selfless. So I think that's
Hmm.
kind of where the question came from. I
Hmm.
wasn't thinking about it romantically at all. I think that's a completely different conversation.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because I think, in high school when I asked that, people think about it like immediately marriage and love, like, and they're
Oh,
thinking about the relationship, they're thinking about their parents, but here we are as adults, and that's not at all what I mean. Um, so I would hesitate to say I don't care about being loved. But I would say that I am in full control of how I dole out how I see the world and how I dole out love. That's kind of where I think I was going, which I think is kind of what you were saying, right? Would you agree?
yeah, no, yeah, I would agree, and I think, I just think I just think you get more enjoyment out of life when you love the things in life.
Right.
Even a really bad person, like two things can be true. Like someone can be a bad person, you can still love them, and then
Yeah.
it's less, it's less of a hardship in that sense. But I
Yeah.
agree too, and I think that's also why I hesitated in terms of the anxiety piece, because I also think, like we as human beings want to be loved, and I don't look at
Sure.
this as a romantic thing either. I think of it as like friendship, like, I think I have really wonderful, like, loving people in my life, and I think it makes everything worth it to
Yep.
feel that love and have that love, and it kind of like fills my cup so I can like love others, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they go hand in hand. I think it's really hard to say one or the other, um, but yeah, I guess the important piece is again the things that you can control and the way that you do look at the world, and whether or not you can find like love in it,
Right.
whether
Yeah.
things and,
Especially now. I mean, it's not a very loving time, and that's why your practice is booming, right? Why my kids at school are
hmm.
presenting with all kinds of things way earlier than you'd expect.
Hmm.
They're products of the environment that we're living in together. I love to keep saying lived experience, and
Hmm.
I don't love this lived experience,
No,
phase, this
no.
phase that we're in. Um, but it doesn't mean I just shut down or stop doing the things I did to get me here. And I do agree with you, like, your group of friends. I'm so, like I said before, and we'll kind of close with this, but like, it just made me so happy. I didn't know you guys were all still together. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
know, because how many were there? That 10 of you that
Oh,
night?
God. Uh,
12?
there might have been like 10 of us. It
Yeah,
was,
I thought so.
I think only one of us was missing. And it was like when we threw it together like last minute. And honestly, we were all together to honor Colleen Wormuth.
Oh,
So
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so we were,
Yeah.
which, I love that for us that, we get to do that. And even so, and I just have to say on behalf of all of those girls, like they are like diehard in a sense. Like I needed them not long
Yeah.
ago, and they were rock stars. Like they did not leave my side, and they were just like amazing. And talk about love. That, and I think that's also why like that kind of hit home when you say to be loved, because I felt so loved and I felt so like
Yeah.
and I that's one thing that held true with that crew, and it's just amazing that like all these years after being together in high school, like they still have all that love to give, and it's just
Yeah.
really
Yeah. Yeah.
special.
Well, I mean, because your lived experience changes, right? So,
For
like,
sure.
some of them are moms, and that's
All of them are
wonderful. And so,
moms. Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
it was so great I knew Case was going to be there, but I didn't expect to
Mhm.
see Amanda. So it was great to see
Yeah,
Amanda. I didn't even teach Amanda, but it was great to see her.
yeah.
And then, you know, who else? So Melvin was
Hey,
there.
Melvin was there.
Um,
Karen was
yeah.
there.
And
Allison was
I'm so
there.
upset that I missed Karen because I saw the picture, and Karen came to us late. She was like a senior year
Mhm.
arrival or whatever.
Yeah.
And I love Karen, and I would have liked to have seen her that night just to say hi because I
Yep.
haven't seen her graduation. But I'm glad that she's still part of your crew.
Yep. Chelsea.
Yep, yep. And the worm thing, obviously I'm
Yeah.
really tight with Kate.
Hmm.
And Bob was with us in the parking lot, when it was his birthday. So like there's a
Hmm.
lot of worm love going on that day, obviously.
Yeah.
So it really meant a lot to me to see you guys. And it was funny because Casey was bemoaning like going. Like he
I
texted me
know.
like I'm gonna go because
I
because
know.
Amanda
And he
when
showed up in a Dave Matthews
yeah.
shirt.
And then he got Carter to do the drumsticks.
Oh yeah. Yes, I
I
know.
was like,
That's my
dude, you don't want to go there and you get this drummer to get the. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. He's your
Anyway,
number one fan now.
yeah, now he is. Yeah. All right, Cher. Anything you want to kind of say before we wrap up? I mean, it was just so nice to see you. I'm so sorry we didn't get a chance to work together. I was really hoping that was going to pan out that time, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you're where you're supposed to be. And
It feels like it. Yeah. And
yeah,
maybe
good.
that's the reason why. I know you did say like really great things about the superintendent, but I mean he's wonderful. The administration is wonderful.
Yeah, it's
The
a great
school
school.
reminds me so much of Audubon.
Oh,
It's just
good.
like it's a really amazing place. I mean, having off for the summer was like first time off, and I'm like, oh, this is so weird. What do I do? And I like genuinely like miss being at work, and I love
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people. Amazing people. The administration is so supportive. It's just like unheard of. So
I'm just so
I did a
happy
really
for you.
good job
Yeah,
here.
I mean, when I heard you were there and with him, I was like, okay, she's gonna be okay because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, yeah,
Great. The principal's great. Everyone's just really wonderful. So, but yeah, no, I mean, everything works out the way it's supposed to, and I'm a big believer in that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
not to be
Well,
corny.
I mean, continued success. I hope this isn't the last time we talk. We're gonna probably be texting back and forth, like we have been, and anything you need professionally, obviously. Are you accepting clients? Should I be sending people your way?
You can, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. I'm actually wrapping up with like a handful, and then I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? So that's how I got through the summer without a paycheck was my
Yeah,
client.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I will.
Yeah.
I mean, I will farm out. So I'll
Mhm.
when we're done, I'll text you. And I'll get your business stuff so I can
Awesome.
send it out to my people.
Perfect.
But it was great to see you and continued success.
All right, hot seaters, thanks for tuning in. Before you go,
Chrissy,
here's
Dustin,
how to stay
everyone. I knew it was
connected.
going to be a great episode.
Follow me on
and it did
Instagram
not
at
disappoint.
Brian_Kulak. Check out more resources on my blog over at briankulak.net. Pick up a copy of The Hot Seat or my other book, Level Up Leadership, both available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And please, if you found value in today's conversation, leave us a rating and a review. It truly helps others discover these stories. Share this episode with someone in your life, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next week for another conversation in The Hot Seat.